Hello, I'm here today, Church Street again, Liverpool city centre, on this busy, sunny, bit windy though, Thursday afternoon. Let me be a little bit more blunter than I usually am. The new arrivals that have been dispersed in our glorious city, sinking their roots deeper and deeper and bringing ways completely different to our Scouse ways. The more and more we have to accommodate their ways at the expense of our Scouse ways. And should, God forbid, the new arrivals sink their roots so deep like they have in other towns and cities across the country where they're now in the driving seat, then the tune we dance to is their tune. That really is it in a nutshell. That's it, right? That's what will happen. It's not racism, it's not hatred, it's not prejudice, like I repeat myself all the time because I've got to. It's nothing to do with that at all. It's about keeping our traditional Scouse ways, keeping Liverpool a Scouse city, because we've watched what's happened to other towns and cities across the country where they've lost their local ways, their local dialect, their local everything that came with being a Cockney, let's say. There's no more Cockney sparrows fly over London. That's a good example if there ever was one. So the more and more new arrivals sink their roots deeper and deeper in our city, then the more we have to accommodate their ways and their different beliefs and their different cultures and whatever, right? Of course. Now, if they sink their roots so deep that they're then in the driving seat, then the tune we're dancing to is their tune. And we've seen that happening in the once proud working class Scouse community of Kensington and Fairfield. If what's happened to that once proud community is so good, why is not one politician in this city shouting from the rooftops what a marvellous experiment has been carried out in Kensington and Fairfield and should be repeated right across the city? Not one. Well, why? Well, we know why. Because they know what is happening to that once proud working class Scouse community is wrong. They know it's wrong. They know that community will lose its Scouseness and eventually its status as a Liverpool neighbourhood. Of course, that's what happens once the new arrivals sink their roots in so deep that we have to change to accommodate their ways. And like I said, God forbid, should they sink them so deep they're in the driving seat, then the tune we dance to is their tune. Now, we can stop this by voting the politicians out that are not opposing what's happening to our glorious city. That's what we have to do. That's what we must do, right? We have to. I hope I articulated that as best I could. But that basically is it in a nutshell, how I've explained it there. Okay, thank you. Hello, I'm still here, Church Street, Liverpool city centre, but I'd just like to add, like I sometimes do, I bank here in the city centre, given my local branch closed. I have to come into the city centre if I want to use my local building society. I also use the building societies for the Wi-Fi. They have good Wi-Fi. But what I've noticed, which I've highlighted before, is the amount of new arrivals in these building societies opening up accounts. Now, no one's against anyone opening up an account, and that's not really what I'm trying to get at here. My point being, given branches have closed right across the city, local branches, people have had to come into the city centre to use their local building society. So you're now in a queue competing with the new arrivals, because there is literally tons of them opening up new accounts. most of the staff seem to be preoccupied dealing with new arrivals. And like I said, no one's against anyone opening up an account, but if this is reflecting in building societies, then it'll be reflecting in schools, doctors, dentists, transport, and many other essential services. Now, the more and more new arrivals, like I say, that are dispersed in our city, the more we're going to be competing with them. Of course, that's obvious. And even further than that, our kids and our grandkids are going to be competing with their kids and their grandkids. And that's another reason why there's many. We need to oppose more new arrivals being dispersed in our city. We need to, because if we don't, then like I've said, our kids and our grandkids will be competing with their kids and their grandkids. And it's not their kids or grandkids' inheritance, it's ours. It's our kids and grandkids, right? So it's not me being selfish, it's not me being petty, right? If you look at this and if you look at the bigger picture, you can see what's going to happen, and it is happening. More and more services that we use, we're going to be competing with more and more new arrivals. And like I said before, the iron law of supply and demand. Once the supply can't keep up with the demand, bang, that's when problems are going to arise. That's when problems are going to happen. So once again, Joe Owens brings you this message because I care for the people of this city. Okay, thank you.